Is confusion around sponsorship costing businesses access to the talent they need? This week, we're joined by Alberto Fascetti, Managing Director from FastVisa, to break down where employers and candidates get caught out when dealing with work visas and what it takes to avoid costly mistakes from the start. From understanding the different visa categories available to navigate the salary thresholds and requirements attached to them, this is an area where even small misunderstandings can cause major issues. Also, on today's show, record high vacancies. Is labour demand rising again? And lastly, are you looking to hire quality talent fast? We have 3 new top candidates that are ready to work across Australia. Welcome to People's Australia Market Update. I'm Aiden Boast, North Shore Manager. Where do employees and candidates get caught out most when it comes to work visas? Work visas can create valuable opportunities, but they can also lead to confusion, delays, and costly mistakes when things go wrong early. From choosing the right visa pathway to understanding sponsorship obligations, salary thresholds, and compliance requirements, even small misunderstandings can quickly become bigger issues. As employer-sponsored visa activities continue to grow, it's becoming more important for both businesses and job seekers to understand what needs to be right from the outset and how to avoid common mistakes from the start. To discuss this further, we're joined today by Alberto Fascetti, Managing Director from FastVisa. Thanks for joining, Alberto. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Aiden, and thanks for having me.
No, it's a pleasure. And I know a little bit about visas because I think I've been on collectively 10 altogether until I get up to being an Australian citizen. But love to hear more from you. So could you tell us more, first of all, about yourself and FastVisa?
Of course. Look, Aiden, my name is Alberto Fascetti. I'm an immigration lawyer. I came to Australia from Italy, as probably my name and my accent can tell you, in 2008. I came on a working holiday visa just to explore the world and learn English. I had a degree in law, so I decided to study and convert my qualifications in Australia. So I studied law. I got admitted as a lawyer, and since 2014, I run an immigration boutique law firm called FastVisa Australia. And in our firm, we mainly focus on employer-sponsored visas. We work with a wide range of businesses, ranging from SMEs to large multinationals who want to establish a presence in Australia or already have a presence. So sometimes we assist them at the startup stage, other times we support them after they are already established.
Great. And we get a lot of inquiries from candidates about visas. So for anyone new to this space, could you start by giving us an overview of the most common visa categories employers and job seekers are dealing with today?
Yeah, the most common one is definitely the 482 visa, which is a temporary visa. I'm sure you have heard of it.
I know it well.
And then there's a 186 visa, which is a permanent visa. The 482 requires employer sponsorship and allows people to work in Australia for up to 4 years, and also to apply for permanent residency after 2 years with employer support, obviously. The 482 visa has 2 key streams that people generally use to get sponsored under. One is the core skills stream, and the other is the specialist skills stream. So without going too technical, the main difference is between these streams is the salary levels. Core stream has a lower salary, and the type of occupation. The core skills follow a certain list. This specialized skills doesn't follow any list. Regarding the 186 visa instead, the permanent residency, this is the PR, permanent residency, that can be applied after 2 years on a 482 visa or directly, provided additional requirements are met, for example, a skills assessment. But in general, probably 80% of candidates first start on a 482 visa, work for 2 years, and then apply for the permanent residency, the 186.
Yes. Great. And one area that often causes confusion is that core skills income threshold, so the CSIT that people talk about. So first, let's break it down. First of all, what is it? What is the CSIT?
Look, the CSIT is the core skills income threshold, which is the minimum salary for the 482 visa in the core skills stream. Okay, so it's currently $76,515. It is generally updated every 1st of July. So this year it will increase to around 70,500, if I'm correct. So if an employer wishes to sponsor a worker, they need to pay them at least $79,500 from the 1st of July. And this is a base salary, so excludes super. So that should be factored as well by the employer.
How often is it updated?
Once a year, usually on the 1st of July. So if an employer wishes to sponsor a worker, they need to, let's take a step back. One key point is that only the cash component of the salary counts to meet the threshold. So, for example, if someone is paid $70,000 base salary plus $10,000 of car benefit that is not paid in cash to the employee, but is paid by the employer, let's say to the car rental company, that does not the C-seat, because the cash component paid to the employee is below the threshold. However, if that $10,000 is actually paid to the employee in their bank account, that would count and the requirement would be met. Now, in addition to the C-seat, to complicate things even further, we have the S-seat, which is the specialized skilled income thresholds for high-paid roles, which is currently around $141,000. So one advantage of that stream is that the occupation does not need to be on the CSOL, on a specific list, the CSOL list. So if an employer pays an employee more than 141, there's let's say less restrictions in terms of occupation.
Okay, and when does it actually apply in the visa process?
At the time of lodging the nomination application. So basically with the application, documents are provided to show what is the salary paid to the employee, for example, the employment contract and all of that.
Okay.
So that employment contract starts operating when the visa is approved. Okay. So given the lengthy processing times, let's say 482 visas are now taking 3 to 7 months generally, or thereabouts. 186 visas are taking more than a year and a half. Okay, so basically that market salary of today will be applied in a year and a half time. That may not be market anymore, but that's fine, as long as it's market at the time of lodgement, but then it will start operating only when the visa is approved.
Okay. And another term that comes up as well is the Australian market salary rate. What exactly is that? When does it apply again? And how can employers make sure that they're meeting that requirement correctly?
Look, the Australian market salary rates, so-called AMSR, there's a lot of acronyms in immigration. We love it. Is a separate, to make things more complex, is a separate requirement on top of the C-seat. So it means that the employee must be paid in line with what someone else is in that role would be paid in the Australian market. Okay, so how do you demonstrate that the salary offered to the candidate is market salary? Employers typically demonstrate it usually salary surveys, for example, Seek salary survey, Indeed salary survey, Hayes salary survey, or job advertisements for similar roles that with the salary falling in that range. And that's what we do for our clients. It's what the immigration lawyer helps the client doing. For example, if salary data shows that an industrial engineer is paid at least $90,000, then the employee must be paid at least $90,000, even if the C-seat is lower. We said the C-seat will be $79,500 from the 1st of July. But if market is above, employees needs to be paid above. Okay. Let's look at an opposite, a different example. If a market salary overall of a let's say an HR advisor is typically 75, but the C-seat is higher from the 1st of July, 79,500, the employee will have to be paid at least 79,500. Okay, so you always need to meet both the minimum thresholds and the market rate, whichever is higher.
Okay. And from your experience, what are the most common challenges employers and job seekers face when navigating these options, and where do things most often go wrong?
Look, usually common issues come down to consistency and compliance. A big one is when documents don't align. For example, the job title, the duties, the salary offer differ between the job ads or the employment contract and the position descriptions. So there's so many moving parts and everything needs to be consistent. So that can quickly raise concern about whether the role is genuine, if something is wrong. Salary is another common problem, especially when employers are not clear on how the C-suite and the AMSR market salary work in practice, particularly when benefits are involved. Cash, monetary benefits, non-monetary benefits. So that's where employers get it wrong. Labor market testing is another area where often things go wrong. We often see job advertisements posted by employers not meeting all the specific requirements. For example, the duration, they have to be posted for at least 28 days. They have to be continuous 28 days. So even if there's 1 day gap, that's not valid. Okay. Then the duties advertised do not match the duties of the position offered. The skills advertised do not match the minimum skills required. And the problem is that even if one of these requirements is not met, the application, most of the time, the application is refused with loss of money. So the department, especially when it comes to labor market testing, doesn't give you a chance to rectify.
Yeah.
So finally, let's say another one would be when the role itself doesn't quite match the size or nature of the business, which can lead to case officer questioning whether the position is actually genuine.
Okay. And for employers trying to hire overseas people and candidates hoping to secure sponsorship, what steps can they take on early to make sure the process is smoother and improve their chances of success?
Yeah, look, as you pointed out, the key is to get things right from the start when it comes to immigration processes. So employers should make sure that all documents are aligned from the beginning. So there is clarity about salary offered, duties, and all these basic requirements, because they will have to be consistent across all documents, locations, etc. Labor market testing needs to be done properly and carefully. And for candidates instead, it's important to understand early on whether they have the minimum skills and work experience to actually get sponsored, because every occupation has a minimum skill level. Most professionals have a skill level with a relevant bachelor degree plus 1 year of experience. But sometimes there is an issue of relevancy. Is that bachelor relevant to the nominated occupation? Is it highly relevant? Is it not highly relevant? Okay. So planning ahead if to make sure nothing is missing. So look, for both employer and employees, I would say that getting advice early on can make a big difference and help avoiding issues that are much harder to fix later.
Yeah, great. That's some really, really helpful information. I'm sure we'll have some more questions. We get a lot of inquiries about people asking about visas, so we'll share your details on this video, and yeah, we'll let, hopefully people have some more questions for you. But so far, thank you and appreciate all your insights.
You're welcome. My pleasure, Aiden. Thank you for having me.
Moving on, are rising vacancies a sign of stronger hiring confidence? Australia's job vacancies rose to 337,900 in February, up 2.7% from November, and the highest level since November 2024. The increase was driven by sectors including construction, retail and accommodation and food services, pointing to renewed demand in parts of the market. Over the past year, vacancies were up 3.7%, raising new questions about employer confidence and where hiring pressure is building. To break this down more for us today, we're joined by the chair from People to People, Mark Smith.
G'day, Aiden. Really good to see you again. Interesting times that we're living in right now.
It very much is so. So wanted to ask and find out from you, Mark, what do the latest vacancy numbers tell us about where the Australian job market is heading?
Well, You know, Aiden, their headlines are bragging about a 2.7% jump in job ads, but I'm going to tell you, don't fall for it. And what's actually happening out there is that it's a split speed economy. The private sector is still trying to hire, for sure. They're up 3.2%, but the government has already started cutting back. So we've got the budget coming up, the federal anyway, at least in a few weeks' time. So you got to think of it more like this: the market isn't growing; it's just uneven. There's because the public sector is in decline by about 0.7%, and then you've got the private sector up 3.2%. But then, having said that, we're still 30% below the peak we saw in 2022, and we certainly aren't heading for a boom. So we're heading sort of more for like a surgical market where companies only hire for roles that they're absolutely cannot live without. And the days of easy jobs for everyone are certainly over, I reckon.
Okay, so there isn't or I don't know if there is a suggestion of employers feeling a bit confident at the moment, or are they hiring cautiously?
Confidence? No, not even close, I think. And this is not really from the ABS data, because I mean, and really, the bottom line with the ABS data is it's a rear view mirror, and just I think it's in the last 24 hours that we've seen the release of the NAB and Westpac surveys, which are about business and consumer confidence. So business confidence in that survey came in at minus 29 points. So to put that in perspective, that is worse than the global financial crisis in 2008. So employers if they're employing now, they're sort of like panic filling, if you know what I mean. So they're not hiring because they're excited about the future. They're hiring because someone quit and they're desperate to keep the lights on, and they're facing, these problems with the oil prices, etc., and interest rates. It's defensive hiring is the way I would describe it. So if you're a business owner right now and you aren't confident, you're just really just trying to get by, and if you need to hire somebody, it's because you're doing it on a defensive nature.
Yeah, sounds like a strap yourself in, we're in for a bumpy ride kind of situation.
Indeed, that's right.
So what should businesses and job seekers be paying attention to as the vacancy levels start to rise again at the moment?
Well, look, the numbers are there. You can't lie. Job ads are up, but I would say forget about the job ads. They tell you what happened last month. You need to look at the sort of unemployment expectations. And the Westpac and NAB survey shows that people are really starting to be concerned about losing their jobs. So consumer confidence is down. And for businesses, they're also understanding that they're hiring on a defensive basis. So bottom line, I think for job seekers would be that don't get cocky because you see more ads. Consumer sentiment has just tanked by 12.5%. So really it should be thinking a little bit harder when you're going into the job market and being a little bit more flexible for the opportunities that are actually there. So it's really interesting times. It sounds like I'm giving you very conflicting messages here, Aiden, and so it's because the job ads are up, but business confidence and consumer confidence is down. And I think it's because one is looking for in the past in February, and then the latest survey results are really looking forward. So it's really hard to, when you see these numbers, to go out there and say, well, yeah, it's really buoyant. It's just not like that.
It takes a few months sometimes for it to eventuate, and actually we see what the impact is from all of this. So thank you. Really appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me. Thanks, Aiden.
No worries. So that's all for this week. If you're looking to grow your careers or build your teams, me and my team are here to help. My name's Aiden Boast. As I said earlier, I recruit for the North Shore, so we'll share my details as well if you have any recruitment related questions. I share lots of tips and techniques on my LinkedIn too. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.